Hello, people. Hello, everyone. Very nice to be here. Thanks to you all for joining us and those who are on their way. Please help us send this out to people who would like to join but maybe have forgotten. My sincere pleasure and joy to welcome in our midst somebody who people do not know. I mean, a lot of people, maybe because I just got to know him, I'm also taking the assumption that most people don't know him, but I think he's well known. Um, and I will let him say his name. He's a very simple person, very simple. So after he says his name, I would just go ahead and say a little things about him before we get into the conversation. Over to you, brother.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, guys. I don't even know which one is your name. Fortunatus Nadi or Son of Big God. Uh, sorry. My name is Osinakachi Akuma Kalu. I'm a villager. Thank you so much for having me.
Good. That's a very interesting question. People ask, a lot of people just mixed it up. I am Fortunatus Nadi. Son of Big God is not just a social media or an internet name. It's my self-expression of my identity in God or my relationship in who God is for me. So the identity as a son and of not just a big God, but son of big God, in the sense that when we add the article A or D, we now begin to talk about different other gods. So that's a self-expression of my personal relationship and who I think I am in the personhood of God. So yeah, so we want to quickly talk about who we have here today. He said he's a village man. He really is not. If only we know. Just look him up. Just look him up. Our brother Osinakachi Akuma Kalu is a Nigerian-born philosopher, is a futurist, is a social innovator. He has done a lot of works on philosophy, and he thinks of himself as a biophilosopher. So he's bringing philosophy into the medical field, and that's something he has done a lot of work on. He has some books published, he has some articles published, and he works with Harvard Business Review Advisory Council, and also with World Academy for Medical Sciences Fellow as a global advocate and, of course, as an author. He's a cultural bridge maker and speaker. You would always see him. I'm surprised he's not wearing one of his native attires today. You will always see him, even in the midst of like the Western world, show up in his native attire. I think he's tired. It's already evening, so he's winding down, as he told me earlier. So, welcome, brother. We are so honored to have you. It will be my joy to have you back here in a later time, according to your availability, to hear things around what you've been doing with Afro longevity and with uh, the the company that you co-founded. I think the name is Staff. So we'll be happy to hear more of that later. Just putting the word out here that we are grateful to have you in our midst today. So quickly, we want to get into the business of the day. You put out something that I have been talking about these things, but when I read what you wrote, I'm like, okay, this one passed me. This one passed me. So with let's maybe start with the topic of the day, so that we understand why you chose this topic. Because when we reached out to you, you wanted to speak to this issue with that frame. If you want to help the church, pray for the church. And it's funny or interesting that you put a question mark behind it. What does that mean? What do you want to communicate with that team?
Okay, so thank you so much, Fortunatus, for having me. Sometimes I don't think that I have what it takes to talk about the spiritual dimensions of what it means to pray for the church. There are people that are better placed to talk about praying for the church. But I think for me, I read somewhere along the line. during an argument when someone said that the best what Father Prince is doing is not correct. That if you love the church, you need to pray for the church. And I asked myself, is that a defense mechanism
Mm,
or a way for which we've been um, hiding behind the scene and committing atrocities? Sometimes if a priest is doing something that is not good, um, we use that route to cover uh, the ills, because when we categorize social ills as sin, it becomes a kind of a double standard. So we need to really call a spade, and then see ourselves, because if we are actually the light, that we profess in baptism,
yeah.
then it means that we need to actually shine our lights on everything. Whilst we
Yeah.
pray, whilst we pray for the priest, we need to also caution them. Whilst we pray for people, we need to also caution them. You know,
Hmm.
so yeah, that's it.
Good. It seems to me that your take on it is like you're tweaking it for those who can see that you're saying, is it really the way to help the church? To pray for the church? That's what I'm
Uh,
getting from your from how you
yeah,
said it. And
yeah. I think
okay.
I don't really want to be a little bit pushy with all these things. I feel that if there we've seen that over the years, people would say, "Oh, instead of you to pray for your priest, you are criticizing the priest." But the
Mm,
priest also criticize people. You know what I mean? Now, I have some instances. Um, in During the reception of the Holy Eucharist, we talk about ị kwesịrị ịnata Kristi, onye na-anata Kristi kwesịrị ịnọ n'ọkwa gracia. You need to be in the state of grace.
yeah.
Very important, very important. This is people's faith, and we need to respect that. And those who uh, play the cards also understand the benefits. It helps them to feel in certain way, and it helps them to communicate to God in certain ways. So we need to respect that. And but there are a lot of things why we claim that people are not seeing what is happening in the church. They are seeing, very clearly, and it
Yeah.
impacts their faith, even though in secret, but in micro to micro level. We need not pretend so much that that using such word doesn't even doesn't invalidate what is happening there. So when you
Hmm.
say if you want to play for church, no, we need to mention those things that the church are doing, that we are praying for, so that it won't repeat itself again. So when you call
Oh
a
my
spirit,
goodness.
then you have
Yeah.
then you pray. So that's why it's also very good. I always tell people, whilst you pray, you need to go to the hospital. That is same thing. That's the best
Hmm.
practice.
Hmm.
Even in church,
Hmm.
we talk about faith without reason. So once you apply your
Hmm.
faith, you apply reason. So once you call out
Hmm.
the ills in the church, you also pray for the church, so that
Hmm.
the two synergies will work hand in hand. So
Hmm.
that's it.
Yeah,
Very
it
important.
seems to me that what you're lifting up is the idea that whatever we pray for around the church is mostly like emotional, spiritual damage or something short of what it should be, as against like bodily health, where we need to go to the hospital for diagnosis, to get a name for it, to now go through what is required. I see what you're saying, and I think that's very powerful illustration. And yeah, I think that's also correct because um, we need to name it to tame it, as some of us have always said. Let me go quickly to. I promise everyone I love to talk many share on many things, but today is your day, brother. So Fortunatus. So what you shared is really interesting. So I want to just start from what you said you want to talk about. Seminarians' night before ordination, where the newly ordained now invite their mistress and lodge them. Can we start from there? What did you mean by that? Where was that coming from?
yeah, it seems that sometimes when you hear things like this and say, where is it coming from? It appears as though uh, they never existed. We know all these things. We know that it happens. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, we don't talk about them. And if actually we are Christian as we claim to be, covering sin is already a sin. So
Yes.
it's sin. It's a heinous crime, legally and spiritually, because there is this way you put it, uh, when you associate, or there is this way they put it in church's theology. There's a way they put it. So you are engineering. So we need not to be accomplice. We need not. So if someone is doing something, you need to call it out. Once you call it
Yeah.
out, you are ending it. You are not supporting the grammar engineering it. So in
Can
some
I can I
the
can I
seminarians,
can I can I pause there and just I think you're talking about enablement culture when you say when it's like accomplice when we play the accomplice. I think you're talking about
yeah,
enablement culture, and maybe we can have a frame of our conversations because what we are doing now seems like the exposition, right? So we want to expose these things, and then at the end, maybe we hear your recommendations. Would that be a good way for us to, channel our journey?
yeah, this is your
Good.
show, but I think that we just have to keep it at a level so that everybody would understand. So when you put it
Oh,
in those theoretical concepts and framings and all that, which is something that I've been
okay.
trying to avoid, our audience might
Okay.
not even understand what we are talking about.
Totally
But
fine. Let's go the way
but
you
it's your
want,
show.
please.
It's your
Yes.
show.
No, no,
It's
no.
your
It's
show.
okay. It's okay. Go flow the way you want. I just wanted to add that word enablement. I think that's what you were referring to, if I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
mistaken. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the enablement culture started from minor seminary. Yeah, minor seminary, these things that they call ophobi. If you attended in seminary in Eastern region, so there's what we call ophobi. For instance, if anybody commits a crime and we say, if the auxiliary or the prefect comes, anybody that said the person that did this thing, we are going to deal with this person and all that. We just have to say, okay, ophobi. Nobody needs to talk. So it started from there. I remembered one day, um, Fidelis Beckett Daramo came to me in the library and he said to me, Ogosi, I'm not sure what we are doing here because this is not formation, this is domestication. You see that it's a mindset that didn't just start, from the senior seminar. So people need to pretend, you need to pretend over the years, and then at some point there is always, because psychologically when there is a repressed emotion, there will be a time for a surge. So whatever that is happening didn't start from the seminarians night. It started from the minor seminary. So you have to onye jidere, nkịta ejidere nsị n'ọnụ bụ onye na-eri nsị, you know so so that is just it. So during the seminarians night, you see some the newly ordained, they come with their mistress, their lodge and all that, and this thing happens. And most seminarians, all the seminarians that attend the seminarians night, they know, but then talk about it. Everybody's a saint. If this, if something of this nature is happening in the church, or let's say at the lay faithful, at the one playing this guy. In fact, they are all collaborators because the people, both the puellas, the mistress, are from the lay faithful. Like, they know, most of the lay faithful knows most of the things happening. So you can't even say you hide. It's just that we think that we can come up with a system that is so secretive, uh, which anybody doesn't know. So we need to start calling out these things. Once we call it out, people will know it. It will help people to adjust. We don't know people who are living with traumas. There are a lot of layers who are living with traumas, and maybe situation condition them to act in a certain way, but they don't know how to go about it. So that's why, for me, I think that inviting me to talk about this thing is my own way of contributing in alleviating the problems.
Thank you so much. And I just wanted to add for context that Puella is Latin for girl. So now you are really doing an exposition so that when next somebody hears one of us or one of those who have passed through where we've passed through say Puella, they know what you're talking about. So Puella is the girl in Latin. I think it's first declension, nominative case. And the thing you said in Igbo, I will be adding context because there are people who watch this who are not Nigerian or who are not even Igbo. So nkịta ejidere nsị n'ọnụ bụ onye na-ere nsị. It means that the dog who was caught with how am I gonna interpret that?
You just have to
the,
transliterate,
the dog who
you
was caught
know.
with poop. The dog who was caught with poop in its mouth is the one that eats poop, right?
Yeah.
Help me, you're the Igbo
I
authority
think
here.
one caught, caught in the crime is the criminal. So it's,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
transliterate. Yeah.
Yes, yes. All right. Thank you. So, what you were saying about the seminarians' night as a place where the newly ordained invite their mistress and lodge them. And you are an expert in this thing that you're sharing because, like you said, it's your perspective and it is you contributing to what you want to see get better. So, I thank you for sharing that. And for context too, seminarian night is like bachelor's night in many like cultures where before the night where a man gets, the wedding day, before the wedding day, the man has like a party with his friends and lots of things fun happen. So in our culture, especially in the southeastern part of Nigeria, before a young man is ordained as a priest, and I think it happens too as a deacon, that they have a night where they have such parties. And it seems to me, I mean, I've experienced it too, but it's your time to share with us what you've seen in those nights.
Um, I, I, I think when you come to seminarians night, it's fun. I've attended lots of seminarians nights in different parts of Nigeria and all that. Something is something terrible happens there. Something good also happens there, and there's no different. You know, Nigeria, we have a culture. We are the only we are the only people. We start a meeting with prayers and lie all through the meeting in the minute. We even fight, and then we close with prayer. So it's you find it in our religious setting. You find it in our social gathering. There is no difference. So it's something. It's a construct. It's a construct because if you are a social being, in extension, you are also a cultural being, and then
Mm.
this work like and so your social cultural dimension present in everything that you do. So you see all these things. Like I always say it. Even if you make most of these priests, you make priests. They are good priests. Even some of
Mhm.
these things that we are talking about, there are seminarians that don't indulge in it. There are priests that they are not party to it. They don't talk about it, but they also pray. They don't talk about it, but they pray for those people doing that, because God doesn't call the qualifier, but qualifies those that we've called, and then, but those that the formators doesn't qualify, they cut them off. So it's some of those things. You find those things in the activities. This is how we are wired. Um, I also think that I also think I also think that the best way to solve this problem is to actually abolish certain things that is being done there. You need to either you restructure it or you reform it. I think something must be done. So if you don't change these things, if you don't reform it, if you don't change formation, if you don't change the activities, a lot will go wrong. As in seminar, there's this work that we go weekly. Weekly, it helped. At least you see the opposite sex. It helps you to not before. when a Puella enters inside the seminary campus, you'll be peeping. Everybody wants to see because you are seeing something different. So the work helps to condition the mind better, or not until some person started using it for booking rooms and doing other things. So there are a lot of things. So we need to we need a lot of things needs to happen in the Nigerian seminary formation, including opening the seminary so that lay faithfuls will start attending to strike the balance. I think a lot needs to, even the Bishop Conference of Nigeria, Catholic Bishop Conference of Nigeria, need to really reconsider a lot of things. Yeah, include it's even a burden. I know I'm just digressing a little bit, but like a lot of things, your phone is in this age and time is still banned in seminary and breviaries. These are most of the seminarians, their parents are not rich.
Hmm.
Most of the seminarians, their parents are not rich, but the the 3 volumes is getting to 300,000. It's something that you can download free. And so a lot of things needs to happen, and sometimes some of these mistress are people that support you financially. So you have to appreciate them the other way around, and also book mass for them. When you appreciate them spiritually, you appreciate them bodily, so that everything you get a nice result, so that the money will keep coming. So yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of things that you've dropped for us there, and I think this is grounded in your experience. It's grounded in how you have journeyed. By the way, there's something we did not touch on. What was your experience going through seminary? Because I think that's where that's what gives you the authority to talk about this as your experience, and I think we did not talk about that.
Yeah, I don't actually like talking about my experience in seminary. It was a good
Okay,
one. It was a good
okay,
one because the church helped me. They helped me in several ways: character formation, studying, and all that. I worked with the best priest that I know, and also some of those people that I call best priests or good priests might not even be good for some persons. You understand? I worked with them, and they helped me. I remember when someone told me that I could have been somewhere now, that I wasted my time in the seminary. I said, wait a minute, what is this one talking about? Do you know what I learned from the seminary? You can't even, you can't even, you can't even debate about that, because
yeah.
time management, multitasking, and all that. It's only the seminary that you know that you can finish betting in 5 minutes and you dressed well. When you wake up late, you can do everything in 10 minutes and you are okay. Time management, being consistently consistent, I learned it there. So you can't just write the Catholic and the seminary formation of my history. So I appreciate the church for giving me the opportunity to pass through a seminary, and it was my own decision, and that I changed my mind to do some other things. That I appreciate the church and the
Mhm.
system itself, building such a culture and everything. I think I applaud them. But the only thing is that it needs to change. It needs to change. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
When we're getting to that change in a moment, could you share again about this number two, where you talk about all the female unrelated relatives of priests living in parish houses? You are in for it, brother. You are in for it. You gave that list. You put out that list. You are in for it.
Yo, I think it started. It started when we were minor, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, there is something that we all need to agree. Everybody that passed through the seminary, what we envisioned wasn't what we meant. Like this, the I don't know if it's a cultural shock or scandal. I don't know, and I don't know how to prove that. But we used to the minor seminar. There's this lady. I don't want to mention names. God, I beg. Okay, I don't want to mention names. So she will always come, and this priest will always say, "Oh, my sister," and we knew this lady as the father's sister, one name father. So it was after some years I realized that these people, they are not even from the same village. They are not even from the same village. And these ladies will turn seminarians into housemaid. They order you, you do things for them, and they want you to do A, they want you to do B. And the church is not even um, the church is not talking about it. The church is doing nothing about it. Let me tell you, some of those mistress that sleeps in the father's house, they must know someone that knows someone that knows someone that is also worshiping in that parish. There's nothing that is hidden under the sun. So when that happens, then I don't know. I don't have any word to even explain the experience, because we are trying not to scandalize people, but we do that every day. How do you even? Because in the pastoral guide, we are meant to understand that the parish priest, the parish priest, or even the local, that they are the pastors of souls. But we only have this idea that in the three evangelical council, that is only obedience to our fellow human is the most difficult one. But the other ones is something that you can manage the privacy, or it's always only when you are caught and all that. Forgetting that the aspect for which we scandalize the mind of our parishioners affects their spirituality. These are the things that we pretend that we are not, we pretend as if we are covering up, we are, nothing is happening. Guy, people know, they know, they know. If some don't know, they know someone that knows someone that knows someone that knows the person that is in that parish. They know that the person is not your sister. And even some of the people, these guys, that the most criminal people in Nigeria society are the people that works in parish houses, especially the cooks. Reason being that they understand that what you are preaching is bash, so it doesn't make sense to them. In their head, they don't understand the theological implication that you are talking, or you are in persona Christi, you are in the person, they're talking in the person of Christ. You understand? They don't understand those theological jargons. For them, now for that way they for parish as where we they see, where they carry babe. Now him be this. So for them, you understand? They know, because they are the ones, that time transfer wasn't a thing. They are the ones that, you remember, father go give account number to go and deposit money in the bank. They will see the name, it's not related. They will be there also when your families will come and visit. Do you understand what I mean? And they will talk, and they will see that this other person is not in the meeting. Do you understand? So they see all those things, they know. The truth is that, for how long are we going to be praying for our priests without calling out the ills? Because when you only pray without calling out, you are an enabler. Forget, no matter how we pretend, it isn't happening, bro. I can't hear you. Sorry, can't hear you.
I muted myself because
Oh,
I'm multitasking so that the sound of the keyboard does not distract people.
oh,
Um,
okay.
what you have said, brother, I just like that you're here. I love that you're here, and people will usually tend to hear more of what you're saying now than your introduction. That you know that there are many good priests. You know that there are many priests who will not even dare do any one of these things.
Yeah,
And
I
those
know.
people are and those people are probably praying for their brothers who they see clearly that are not
Yeah.
doing the right thing. And I'll share with you quickly. I promise that I will not share anything. When I left junior seminary, the priest that was my spiritual director gave me a job to teach in his school in a parish, but said you will not live in the parish house because I don't want to. What was that word? Like he didn't want me to see what the assistant parish priest was doing, so he hired a house for me outside the parish house. Eventually, I found out everything that was going on, including smoking, even though culturally in the Western world, smoking is not a big deal. But it's a big deal in Nigeria. So thank you for sharing that. I hope that these expositions continue to just make people go grow past that discomfort. Because and we want to also acknowledge that some people may be uncomfortable listening to this. Not because they don't know it, not because they have not seen it, but because again, this has become a culture or even a subculture that has been forced down our throats unconsciously. Now we accept that it's okay to keep quiet when we see these things going on. And people keep throwing up ex opera operanto, the grace of the work worked. It is true. That belongs to your theology classroom. That belongs in Bigad. When you come out in the parish house, that young boy washing your car has no business. It doesn't know what you're talking about. It doesn't know what ex opera operato is in persona Christi capitis. It doesn't know that. He sees how you live. It's just like how children grow up and how children learn. Children don't learn abstract and concepts. They learn what they see. If you teach your son to love women, you have to love your wife. That's the only way he can understand it. So thank you for that. Let's go to the next one. You have given up. You as a lot. You are a soup.
Uh, can we speak to this thing? These lists are huge. Can we speak to it
Yes.
and not itemize them?
No, no. I love the itemization because it takes us step by step. And again, I respect the boldness with which you did this. And meeting you in person is just it just shows one singular denominator among everybody I've experienced who is speaking about this. These are joyful people. These are people who really love and care about the church. I don't experience any bitterness listening to you, but people will quickly project that on you so that they discredit and diminish and dismiss what you're sharing. So
Can
it's
I say
just
something? Can I say
yeah.
something here? You know, I remembered sometime in the past when I started talking about certain things, the ills in the church, and people were like, "Oh, I'm frustrated." You know, most people don't know me. Most people don't know some persons. You know, onye na-amaghị mmadụ na-akpọ ya ọnya.
Hmm.
The value proposition is just based on what there's people who don't even understand what you're doing. They just start, you know, profiling you and calling you names and all that. Um, I think I think there was a time someone started saying that I was expelled, and that's what I'm saying is based on bitterness or because I'm frustrated that I didn't become a priest. Oh my, oh sorry. So, sorry. So I was like, wait a minute. No ways. I think when I made up my mind to do what I wanted to do, the first person I spoke to was Reverend Father Goodluck Debom, very good friend of mine, very good priest from Ogoni. I went to I went to oh sorry. I went to I went to where he was posted to pay him a visit. And when I got there, I spoke to him about my plans. He prayed for me and said to me that I should go ahead with it. He encouraged me for once. Then I had so many invitations and all that and all that. So, but then people would always come and say it's from a place of bitterness for what? Guy, like the people I love, I help people to buy time to live longer. That's also spirituality. I help people to buy time. I'm a controversial person, and I know that, but I do it in a very respectful way, you know. So I understand that. I understand scandals. I understand that some of the things we say might come true as scandalizing the lay faithful. But come on, some of these lay faithful, they know about what we are talking about. They know more than you think. So I think it's high time we start um, talking about all these things and then placing things according to their order. You understand? So when once we see all these things and we don't talk about them, we are destroying the church. I don't know if you get my point. So I'm not saying anything from the place of bitterness. I want the church to grow. I want the church to flourish. I don't want things. There was a time something happened, something very terrible happened. Um, a seminarian was, a seminarian was telling auto servers that the seminarian was a gay, and he was telling auto servers that um, that being that men sleeping with their fellow man, is not a sin. That is not in the Ten Commandments. That the Bible talked about adultery and all that. He didn't list those things. And these guys, some of them bought the ideas. They started. So when it was discovered that this guy was really doing a lot. So when it was discovered, we had to report this guy, and he was expelled. Now the thing is, you don't need to. If we said, "Oh, don't worry, let's pray for this our brother," let's not talk about it. What about so many altar servers? Have you gone to so many? Have you visited some comment section to see what people write when issues come up? You know, especially from people who are not Catholics. We just have to. We just have to do the best we can, and being uncomfortable is also part of the changes. Like we are not saying this thing for people to be comfortable. We are not saying this for people to like us. We are not saying this for people to love us. We are not saying it for people to buy us data or for people to take us for lunch. Even if Nagare I get, I go. I never make a mo, but even if Nagare I make, now something where I make, if you use and do or hustle. So that's it, my brother.
Oh, thank you. And this is a moment to just celebrate that we are having people speak and they were listened to. However, if that person was a priest, do we have a system that seminarian? Do we have a system that when he is reported, people will listen and treat it transparently? It seems to me that as an ex-seminarian, it's easy to get him out. Sorry, as a seminarian, it's easy to get him out. But again, we celebrate the fact that that was done. You guys reported, and somebody listened, and there was a system that responded to that. Maybe we could go to, I mean, I know that you're not bitter. I am. I have carried on that labor for the longest time, and again, today is not about me, so let's go to you. Zero accountability. Talk about that.
Um, there is something that for me it's a cultural thing, it's a cultural thing. I think the, it's just like what I think I was discussing this with a priest, very reasonable and a smart priest at that. So my classmate. So I was asking, there was a time my mom invited me. I think I was still in the seminary. So we went to Emekuku, that what's that parish again in Emekuku. So they were celebrating the centenary. That was the first place that the church came.
Okay.
So they were celebrating the centenary, 100 years. So when I got home, I was asking myself, what have the Owerri Archdiocese achieved in 100 years? I know that when we want to talk about achievement, we mention the name of the priests that have been ordained, the name of the parishes that have been built, and all that. But the internally generated revenue, people that have been doing harvest, that have been doing bazaar, that have been doing cathedraticum, that have been doing Kabiana and Ngozi, If you ask them, they will tell you the project they have been doing. Um, I don't know the oldest this cathedral in is it Mbano side? What is the name again? Okigwe Diocese. That cathedral, are they building eternal life? Um, Go to other villages. The parish priest uses money as if it is his. If you go to
mm,
developed countries, you know, someone posted in the village won't even feel it. There is a structure. There is a structure. Your parish pays you your stipend, so you don't have asset. There is an accountant. But this one, I don't want to even get to these ones because some of the mistresses of the priest are the ones that are you see as accountant or secretary, parish secretary, and all that. Them handle everything. You come to pastoral council meeting when people challenge your position or question you, you feel attacked. That's zero accountability. You cannot even present. When we criticize the government, I just laugh. Most of the parish priests cannot even give a clear account of what they have done in their parishes. Some of them, but there are people who are again, I will call Father Peter Debo. Let me tell you something. When Father Peter Debo was posted to a particular parish, a remote parish, he called me, said, "My brother, I want you to come and work with me there." He doesn't understand Igbo, but he's in Omoma. Anybody from Omoma
mm,
here, Omoma here in St. John's, Omoma. Anybody here would attest. Anybody watching. Father Peter Debon went there. They had nothing. You know, Father Peter and I, we used to go to the bush to catch rabbits so that we can eat. So that we can
mm,
eat. Now, one day, we went for mass. On coming back, we had missed calls. Not knowing that the Fidelity Bank gave him 500,000 naira. So he thought that it was scam. I said, let's go, let's visit. We didn't have food to eat. I remember calling one Mrs. Blessing Raymond, who even called us to come and carry a bag of rice. you
mm,
know. So we did that, and we were using bicycle to go for visit some stations, and we did a lot. We changed that place. He ended up starting a school there and building the parish, and to the point he started a farm there. We started fish pond. We started snail farms and other things, poultry, and we were doing things. We were doing it happily. Now, do you know that father used that money that Fidelity Bank gave to him
mm,
to build a chapel to put, and he asked friends to give him money. Father Peter is someone that when I visit him, even now, and I want to give him money to support him, he will give me the church's account. And when
mm,
I'm leaving, even now, he will give me brown envelope, to say, take, you are still my boy. You understand what I mean? You're still my boy.
yeah,
So he's someone that is account. He even after doing that, I remembered we went to pastoral meeting. So he was telling the church how he was telling them. They said they don't have money. That who sent who sent who sent him to use his money to build those things. They didn't send him and all that. And someone even abused him using Igbo, not knowing they thought that I'm from Ogoni, not knowing that
mm,
Abumo Igbo. You understand? So they asked Bishop to send them a priest. Now Bishop has sent Darahawa Takre. So
mm,
because the priest is short and all that, but this guy is very intelligent, he's strategic, and he understands his mission to the point that he was even during rainy season alone helping to dredge the roads of Omoma people. The records are there, the pictures are there. He was featured in newspapers and all that. I still have the pictures. So these are the
mhm,
things. There are priests doing wonderful things. There are priests that are accountable, but there are priests that sees those things, sees what is being the revenue of the parish as a return for investment. So for them, it is ihe You understand? That is why most of the priests fight to go to what they call oil parishes. So we shouldn't pretend that. So for me, if you go to Germany, for example, most of the Catholic Church, most of the schools that you see, they are built by the Catholic Church, and they contribute to the economy, which even give them a say in the government policies and all that. So we need to learn how to find a way in economic expansion and having something that is concrete that generates revenues for the church. It's not just about building churches. There are a lot of things that we can do. There are a lot of investment parishes can do. There are a lot of investment dioceses can do to even change situations around, to give the church a voice, not just the voice of prayer. If the Catholic bishops of Nigeria have been investing strategically, tactically, most of the government policies in most of the government policies, they will have a say because they have economic weights. But when you have nothing to offer, not Ite Misa S, Babanu Misa Gusigo atmosphere, you have people doing adoration and all that with a lot of semantic noise, contradiction here and there. Some of your priests will say this person will be bishop or will be the president, and tomorrow the person turns out not being the president. They'll say these guys are not serious, you know.
Mm.
So you need to just involve yourself in what you are faith and reason, and then focus more of establishing yourself. Go to US now, you will see most of the universities owned by the church. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
contribute. They have also, they just started some, they are trying. Like I said, there are some bishops that are accountable, there are some priests that are accountable. I use for the Peter Debom as an example in all these things that I've been sharing. So that is just it for me.
Okay,
Accountable.
so you came to a page where accountability is very important. I did my apostolic work in MoMA, and I'm actually texting the family that I lived in the house right now. If they respond, I'll call them during this live session so that we hear more
Okay.
about Father Peter. I did my apostolic work, I think 2018, 17 in a moment, and I've been in touch with the family all this while. So thank you so much for sharing that. It seems to me that you're touching on something that is even salient. And we can both agree, like you've shared, that there are schools, there are universities like Caritas and St. Augustine University, and secondary schools in different parishes that are built by the church, managed by the church. But what I'm hearing from you is that the problem is not just that these structures do not exist, but there's no accountability in the management of resources. That people now get on those tables of revenue or on those places where the money comes in and makes it their birthright, so that the priest,
Where then go
some,
post me? Where then go post me? Where
yeah,
then go
yeah,
post me? If they post you go to Isu for my village, you'll be angry. You'll be angry. They
mm,
post you go to, you'll be angry. They post you go to, but when they post you for what they call Oye Parish, you'll be excited. Do you understand?
yeah,
People lobby for all these things. They lobby
mm-hmm,
for all these
mm-hmm,
things. How much do
yeah.
they return to the diocese? How much do they return to the diocese? During their handover, how much? I've seen some priests handing over with 0 point. So you didn't do anything with your life. So 0 point 000, even some in debt. And people are happy with such things. You see the parishioners, they are frustrated. They are doing harvest each year, harvest upon harvest. They are not seeing anything. So we need to actually, I don't know how to put this, but I think that most priests have failed the people. They have failed the people. They bankrupted the church financially, they bankrupted the church spiritually, they bankrupted the church in different ways, and they even scandalized the church. So, but there are people, I hope and I pray that those that are holding the lamp of salvation stick true to what they are holding, and they also encourage their brothers. The problem is that people don't talk to they don't talk to themselves. You understand? Sometimes they even they even fight, but it's just a thing. Uh, Trauma is, I think, in psychology, trauma is contagious. So most of the experience that the assistant parish priest goes through, eh? The experience that they go through, they even normalize it, and they treat the ones coming behind. Same. That's why you'll be surprised seeing a priest acting. You say, was this person actually a seminarian before? Because this was the person that you stayed together with. They understood the nitty gritties of things, but all of a sudden the person start acting in a certain way. It is it is like in gerontology, intergenerational thingy. It connects mentally, and it conditions people to act a certain way because they have seen people doing such a way, and immediately they see it as a pattern and or what
Mhm.
is right. So it's just like that. I remembered a priest when I was invited by my very good parish priest then, if I want to eat after mass, when I will share communion, the parish is so big, I want to eat. That somebody should ask me, "Are you a priest? Are you a priest for food?" So, so my brother, so we just have to be very careful. We have to be accountable. We need to, some of these things. You see, some of these things, even Tinubu cannot do it. Tinubu,
Mhm.
our president, cannot bankrupt Nigeria the way most priests are bankrupting it. So I don't want to put it that way, but I think I'm even being fair. There is no word for that.
Good. Thank you so much. And I think about the pattern that you're describing, and thank you for the insight from your field and how you name it around gerontology. This is a pattern that I have called in many times cyclic evil, where because they do unto me, I go do unto the people who come after me, and those people go do unto the people who come after them. And it continues to become a cycle that instead of people choosing to step out of that cycle and create the change that they feel moved by the gospel values to create, they rather do what I also call I would remember that later. And Father Engelbert, who has been on this platform many times, calls that a subculture of clericalism. So that even within the wider culture of our Christian values, of what should be the ideals, we have created a culture that has been normalized, in which case people continue to carry on the hot that was meted out on them and insist that other people will have to be hot because they were hot. And that's what we have here. That's why we have this generational trauma, transgenerational trauma. People who have had any experience of the seminary in Nigeria, you walk out of that place with a trauma. If it did not happen to you, it happened to your bedmate, it happened to your hostel mate, it happened to somebody on the table with you, and we carry these things, and that's why now that people are hearing Father Chidi, right? It's bringing up a lot of things. It's like you cannot be honest to yourself and deny those things, and even for priests. So I really appreciate how you name these things. And again, as we think about the structure, um, transparency, accountability, evaluation, these are things that go together. And the Catholic Church has done a good work on that, but most of these things are in our documents. If you check the final document of the Synod of Synodality from paragraph 95 to paragraph 101, you will see how the Church clarifies the need for evaluation, the need for transparency, the need for structures. So thank you so much for sharing that. Let's move on to the next question, which will be, oh, you know what? Begin to summarize as you like. I want to give you the room to summarize now because we are
Oh, thank you.
closing. We are closing in on an hour, and we can go over that if we need. So, should we talk about CWO women and their activities? How about homosexuality, sisters? Edith, wait, that last one has to be alone. Number seven has to be alone, please.
No, 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 no. E- So I think that's number seven. I have to apologize for that because
Okay,
why I have to give my reasons. And
okay,
I think most of those congregations are mushroom congregations. Most of these
okay.
mushroom congregation and the church seem not to have system to regulate those things. There are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of mushroom congregations, and some of these mushroom congregations are the ones that engineer some of these things. And when you look
Mm.
at it, they think that, yeah, because sisters and all that can help, I know some sisters that did some of those things, and I called them out. Like I called them to talk to them about it. That time I said this is not good, but they said, "Oh, but it's better." There's always a caveat for everything, but it's
Mm,
better to do this than to enable abortion. They want to play, but when you look at
mm,
the theology of the body, you see that these guys are just playing at the gallery. So when you try to
mm,
defend, not defend, why not? It's just a systemic issue. So I have to apologize for making that categorical statement. Okay, so the one of CW, the one of CW, it starts from the apostolic work experience, right? The apostolic work
mm,
experience, you see that these guys wants to run the parish. I don't know, and the people, most of the good priests that I worked with, uh, that taught me a lot.
yeah.
Mosinongole, for instance, Mosinongole in Port Harcourt Diocese, you can't pass through Mosinongole without learning a lot.
Mm,
No, you can't pass through Mosinongole without learning a lot. You can't pass through, like I said, you can't pass through Father Peter Debon without. But Father Peter will tell you, don't give anybody microphone as a priest, as a seminary. Don't give anybody microphone to talk that place. He doesn't visit you for what this invite for dinners and all that. He taught me how not to even. He said to me that priest, priest during the assistant function, how they react to food. He will tell me, "OC, you are not going to eat there." He will tell you when we come back, we find something to eat. He doesn't he doesn't glitch over food. He's not excited about foods and all that. So we always find our way. So he gave me a lot of formation. Uh, I learned a lot from him. I learned his. I wouldn't say that I learned him because I'm not sure if I'm humble. So, but he's very
oh, oh, we will tell you that one.
yes, he's very humble, very humble. So if we go for functions and all that, he will leave the bed for me. And this is a priest. He will leave the bed for me, and he will pick up something, go to the parlor, and like, have you seen a thing like that before? So he was someone that does a lot. So I appreciate him, and I still respect him. I still consult him. He's someone that he likes my way of doing things. He likes the way I talk and all that. He will say, "Go handle this. This is something
Is
that
he
you
on
handle
face?
better."
Is he on Facebook? Is he on Facebook?
Yes,
Give
yes,
me his name. Let me look him up and then share his name for everybody to see.
yeah.
Father,
He's a Peter Debum. So he's a very good guy.
how do you spell the
I think
the
there is a way he wrote Peter Debum and Peter Debum. So it's written together. I will send it to you on WhatsApp
Okay,
now.
okay, good, good. Thank you. Yeah, we
I'm
need to
sending it on
celebrate
WhatsApp.
people like this. We need to
Yeah.
celebrate good examples. Yes.
Yeah, he is. So, my brother, so these people come to the parish houses, they want to run this show. And these are the people
Mm,
that sometimes uh, tell some of the priests what to do. And they'll say, "Do you know how like, that kind of thing?" I remembered one. I remember a situation where our parish priest said that time, I met Father Peter Debom when he was a seminarian. We came to the parish for apostolic work and all that. So we
mm,
loved the way we work and all that. So one day we were asked to coordinate CW's election. So the member of the CW that have been complaining and all that. One actually came with fund to campaign.
wow.
So yeah, we saw the whole thing and we say, okay, we cancelled the election. We cancelled it and then we postponed. We tried to do it in a way that it would favor those people that wants to manipulate. So after some time, the that's how both of us became very disobedient. We became very bad people. We don't respect our mothers and all that. We are rude and all that. So
Wow.
So we keep
Yeah.
we continued pushing, we continued doing. I was known as, for instance, if you go to St. John's, Rumukurushi, they call me no nonsense man. Yeah, I was this person that I carry church for head like mad, like saying my papa business. I carry church for head. Ask them, people who are watching from St. John's, they know me. If you put on weight list, I'm not giving you communion. If you put on lipstick, I'm not giving you communion. I don't know where I got that idea from. I won't give you
Mm,
communion because I was just like, how do you want to, this is body of Christ now. You need to be, you need to be proper. You need to, I don't want the lipstick, is that what they call it, to touch my hands, and I will use it to touch the body
mm,
of Christ. It was not making sense, but I was just like, I can't even explain what I was doing now, but that's it. They were like, and it became a thing. I was reported. My parish priest said that is my spirituality, and he respects that. You know, so I learned a lot. But this aspect of CWO women, some of them even, I don't know what they are dragging and looking for. Where the parish priest, I don't know if it is interest, I don't know if it is relationship, but whatever it is, the church in the Catholic Church in Nigeria should have a system, an administrative system that controls everything, allowing the priest to take care of the spirituality. And this system should be very transparent, accountable as possible, so that there will be the one. It should be an independent that must be audited, not the internal audit that is being done in the church. And then people now they do it having the interest of the parish priest, that no, so I think that is the best way. And I'm not saying that there are not good women. There are good CWO women, but
wow.
that's just my experience. Yeah.
Thank you so much. By the way, Father Peter Debon, you just got one follower. Thank you for your example. Thank you for the way that you've taught our brother. And by extension, you're teaching us now, not just by your life, but by you're exemplifying the fact that we have continued to speak to, that what we do here is not because there are no good priests, but because people like you are so few that a lot of people do not get to see you, and they see other examples that would not speak to the things that we aspire for as a community, as a church. And I want to lift a comment from somebody here, Steffi, who says that some CWO women have taken certain liberties in their parish, constantly cooking from home and bringing meals to the parish house, sending their daughters there on holiday, and attempting to control parish affairs through their closeness to the priest. Such behaviors raise serious concerns and can undermine the healthy functioning of the church community. I think this is powerful. What do you have to say about that?
You see that statement? That statement, I think, is stronger than what was dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II. Psychic manipulation. I remember what Professor Koro did say. Professor Koro said that you cannot. It's difficult for uh, when you allow your students, to buy you gifts. When you allow your students to
Mm,
buy you gifts, some of your if you when you allow your students that have failed exam, your unserious student to buy you gifts, what are you teaching them? Do you think that you can look at those gifts and fail them in their exams? There is no way you can do that. So I understand where that our sister is coming from. That sister is saying something very, so it's just a kind of a psychological manipulation. You know, they do all these things. Most of the parish priests are training their daughters in school. Eh? Do you understand what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I think there is more to say here, but for the sake of the body of Christ, for the sake of the body of
Now
which is
you're
also
using
the
that popular
instrument,
phrase.
which is which is also the instrument for which people hide under the body of Christ to commit crime. So I
Uh-huh.
think for the sake
Uh-huh.
of the body of Christ, I'm going to expose on that, expand on those things that our sister just said now. Talked about cooking. Cooking. What even Christ said is not, Christ talked about what goes into, goes into, you know what I mean? What
Mhm.
goes into someone's mouth, what goes into your mouth. Our priests are so careless, most of them, not all. People invite you for dinner when you have a parish. You have your parish. Someone that the husband went for, I worked in Port Harcourt, in Port Harcourt now, some of these women, the husband always go for rig. All these people in share. The husband will go for rig. 2 weeks off, 2 weeks in, 2 weeks off. They invite you for dinner. That's how you will go for the dinner and you dinner. So these are the things that people need to be careful of. You
Wait,
cannot be,
wait. Explain that Igbo coinage you added there.
you know, you go for dinner and dinner. So you don't need to. You need to understand that you have a parish where everything was made
Yeah.
available. You need to understand. You need to respect yourself. You need to be very careful. You understand? That is if you want to do exactly this. If you want to
Mhm.
look, I'm not saying that a priest must be a perfect person.
Mhm.
A priest must not be a perfect person because
Mhm.
a priest is fully human. You understand?
Yeah.
It's fully
Yeah.
human. You understand? It's not a so, but there are things. If you want to create a system, if you want to do something good, you have to create a system that won't allow you to do it in a way that doesn't really equate how you present that what you want to do, because it is indirectly sabotaging or watering down your efforts. So you need not to put yourself in a position where you now have to struggle. So
Yeah.
don't go for dinner. You don't need to. Everything that you want to do must be in your parish. If they invite you for housewarming, some of these people, do they even go for the dinner to the poor? When the poor invite them, do they even go? That is just that. It's a selective visit. So both the housewarming and all that. I think if I had become a priest, I would have I would have tried, because Father Peter Devon taught me a lot. He taught me, he was someone that wasn't joking. And sick call was a thing of the past in St. John's Rumukurushi. When Father Peter came in, became a deacon, he was doing that every day, immediately after Mass. He was doing that. He was
Mm.
doing that every day. And people felt like they felt the connection. They felt the
Mm.
connection, and he was always available. And yeah, so that is it. Another thing that I would want to chip in is that the aspect of sending their daughters, and these their daughter, they take simple roles in the church, that from that simple roles it gives them connection to the access to the parishioners. Having access to the parishioners is something that is that most people see as opportunity. So I think we need to have a system that makes it difficult for people to have access to the priest, so that the priest will even have time to be productive. I think one of the problem that I have is seeing the priesthood as only a vocation, and that vocation doesn't is not is tied to purpose. And the lay faithful who are in the marriage that receive same sacrament but in different offices, also have their own purpose that they sort out for. So if the priest is just celebrating mass, KDOG from after morning mass till the rest of the day to do, aside the day they have office and the day they have Okabiano, Rangozi, Cathedraticum, and all the Easter time, what do the priests do when your mind is idle? When your mind is idle, you find yourself doing something. Thank you, Father Abbott. So, yes, Chikere. Yes, when your
Angel
mind
Bet,
is
yeah.
yes, Angelbert. Thank you so much. Yes, the problem is the implementation. I didn't say that there is no they have, but what I'm saying in essence is accountability. When you have a system, did you follow this system? How did you follow them? In fact, can they even apply qualitative and quantitative review? Because when we want to criticize people, we apply those things, we quote the church's documents and the theological backups. So when we want to review the functions and application or the activities of the priest, we need to be integral in doing that so that it will help us to screen and know who is doing what and how, their level of productivity, and we reward it helps. We reward those who are working hard, And if we want to send priests for studies, let's not send them when they are 50. The brain is dull. Send if that identifies vibrant priests, you send them for that study. And there is a lot. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot on the accountability, on enabling, facilitating, and helping the church to grow. So that's why I try to balance everything. I talk about A and then talk about B and then try to make sense of everything. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I think that, like, just as we're having this conversation, um, somebody like Father Peter Debom, who you celebrate, uh, it does not need an external structure to help him do what he has internalized as his lifestyle, as his way of living this priesthood. That's what I'm thinking. Because
This guy
right from
suffered though.
yeah,
This guy
okay,
suffered though.
okay,
This
okay.
guy,
Tell,
this
tell us
guy
about that.
suffered. His parents died. Father Peter suffered though. This Father Peter, he
Mm,
suffered though. Go to. He is from Wegwere, Bowe in Ogoni. So the Ogonians they know this guy. He lost everybody. The person that I think it was even through Father Chief. Father Chief in Port Harcourt Diocese was even trying to support him during his priestly ordination.
yeah.
I don't know if this is necessary. There was nothing
Please,
coming
please,
forth.
please share only what you feel comfortable to share.
Yes, this was
Yes.
even like why I want to share this is that sometimes when you think that nothing is seems to happen, something will actually happen from nowhere. But when he was
Mm,
going through this thing, he will cry and he will tell me, my brother, see, this is something I sign up for. This is something that I'm convinced. I know that it's part of the process. This was
mm.
someone that sold gala in my two, that sold gala and he just managed to to apply and it worked, and it worked with his brother priest and these guys worked hard. And I thank some of the people that I know. There's one of our catechists then, St. John Sumukrushi, Baba. Baba
Mm.
loved our zeal, the way we work, and he was there like a father, telling us because one of his sons was a priest, and he really supported and he always encouraged, you know. So yeah.
Okay, okay. I hear that, and I mean that's how everybody's journey prepares them for the way that they respond to this ministry. And so my point was just to see how going to dinners may not be the problem, but the individual, the person's own like formation, principles. If I'm going for a dinner and I'm going to a dinner where the wife is the only one around, then I should know. I should have
No,
known what I'm
sometimes
going in
no,
for.
no, no. Sometimes you won't know. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Have you forgotten? Have you forgotten the catechism of the Catholic? That yellow one that always makes you feel as if you are listening to Bishop Okwi's music. The one that talked about Uriri Warawara agreement. You can't even envisage what is going to happen. That's why it is
Yeah.
better. The catechism will say, run away from the occasion of sins. Iyegeme. breach the divides, the things that will
Yeah.
even predispose you to the action. Don't
Hmm.
go late at night. They will tell you, "Oh, Junior, go to the room and watch your TV." Bam.
Yeah.
Then after the dinner, you will dinner, and you'll be trapped because you are a human being. You are a
Hmm.
human being. You can't say that it is even the person that feels that is strong. There was a time in the let the weak say I'm strong, and you will see it. You will say, okay, it's just I just did it. I didn't know. You go for confession. One day, Konji is a bastard. Konji is very evil. So it's just not to don't create room for those things. If not, you will repeatedly will go back to subscribe or change your oil to the glory of God.
Yeah.
Bring
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I want to celebrate you for one thing that you did, and this is how we know people who are to some extent honest, and I mean how we can assess that in real time. You made a post, and right now on live, you are apologizing for generalizing the context of your post. So that's something to celebrate. If all of us can honestly agree when we think that we have stretched something beyond what is what available evidence does not support, I think that's a good way to go about this kind of honest conversations. So I want to celebrate, your comment about the child trafficking, how you clarify that, and how you apologize for the generalization that you agree is behind that. Would you want to talk about homosexuality? And before you talk about that, I want to maybe just go ahead and talk about that. Share with us what was the intent for you as you thought about that topic. You are on mute.
Hey, um, Grace. Okay. You know, sometimes there are things that we pretend that we do not know that is happening in this church. Uh, the Catholic Church is one of the most organized societies organization in the world, structured. But I think this one in Nigeria, this one in Nigeria, they are bent to doing their own thing. I don't know if the person that brought it was Firebrand. It came with methodless method, you know. Firebrand talked about methodless, whatever works. It was I don't know if Trump was part of it, whatever works. Let's just go with that. Now, talking about homosexuality, we always say that some of these people that say, "Oh, it's because he was expelled," and because in seminary we don't talk about why people were expelled when they expel people in seminary. We don't need to talk about it. Most of them didn't even tell you why they expelled you. They will just give you proverbs and everything. For some, not us that packed our bag and they ran away. So, and the case of homosexuality, there is this congregation. If I explain that, those some persons will understand. And this congregation, we know, that this person was expelled because he was a gay. The person will go and open a congregation, and then Reverend fathers will go and celebrate mass there. I don't want to be the David Hume here today to use necessary connection because the Reverend fathers might not even know. They may say, necessary connection. You know, um, they will go there to celebrate their mass for their first religion profession. These guys will ordain priests, or they'll be ordaining priests, and they'll be doing all sort of things. And you'll be wondering, is it that the church don't know that these guys are gay? Is it that the church doesn't know why these guys were expelled? And there will be, you know, men, priests, there will be gossiping. like Bluetoothing the whole conversation. Bluetooth, like sometimes what happens there, it doesn't make sense to me because if you want to run an institution, in all honesty, you just say no, you don't belong here. That is not how we do it. If you want to practice any other thing, don't practice it. You are not part of us. But you'll be sugarcoating things, romancing it, trying to just to please people. Reason because you know someone that knows someone that is doing it, and that person is connected to you. So my problem with homosexuality is the way that is being handled. It started in the minor when we are calling it Epontu and stuff like that. But if you are God, if they get you, you are going there. I think minor seminary seems to be even more serious than the senior seminary. I don't know, but that's what I think because that minor seminar I don't know because you are just coming from home, but now after scaling through the minor seminar, you now know the criminality, the way to navigate the wave, and all that, how to deal with some formators, the psychology of formators, how the lies to tell and all that. So, brother, they are there, and I'm sorry for victims. I'm sorry for those who, for victims, either massacres or whatever. There are a lot of people that are stigmatized. Unfortunately, that is the situation. That is what the system produced. So when you don't talk about these things and people die in silence, how do you solve the problem surrounding these things? You keep on
Mm-hmm.
lobbying, trying to save the image of the church. Why people's image are damaging, people's families are being destroyed, and you say you are saving the image of the church. Which church
Mm-hmm.
image? So I think
Mm-hmm.
the church should also understand that they are functioning in a cultural setting, and wise homosexuality is a psychological issue of either repressed emotion, and some persons might say spiritual issue or sociological issue to your 10th old theory of Israel's. So, so whichever theories, I think the church should find a way to deal with certain things, build a system that will make it impossible. And if people should, and parents should also be friends with their kids, whether outer girls or outer boys. Be friends with your kids so that they can tell you things. And when they tell you things, don't say because no, but father, that's why some parishes you forget that your priests are humans. Or you know the priest that doesn't women doesn't visit is a very holy priest. You don't know
Mm-hmm.
is also being visited by men, and
Mm-hmm.
your kids may be may be used and all that. So things like that, we need to find a way. I'm not a reformer. I don't know how they do their reform, but whatever be the case, I'm airing my view. If they want to
Mm-hmm.
reform, fine. I'm not even part of the system or structure, all that. So that is my 2 cents. And I think we are going to wrap it up from here. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Unless there are questions. Unless there are questions.
Uh,
All that. Yeah. Thank you.
all right, good. I don't see questions in the comment. I want to quickly just acknowledge that this is a very intense conversation, and I feel it in my body because I have had the opportunity to be a Nigerian, born in Nigeria, grow up in Nigeria, and then come to the US when I was like at least over 25, let's say that. So I have a taste of both worlds, and we are all existing within the context and frameworks of the Catholic Church. So our church has things that the church teaches on this, and we have our concrete lived experiences. None of that should like dismiss the other. So what I hear is your experience of this reality, and your experience, my brother, is not to be questioned. Even at this time, I have a group of novices who reached out to me. And I'm saying this because I am no more functioning as a rescuer the way I started on this platform. Group of novices with evidence of homosexuality from maybe their leaders and all that. And it's being treated now. I'm saying it out there because I have no interest to come and expose it and trend. But those people who are handling that issue, I'm saying this to you to handle it well because we have evidence on ground. Make sure you honor the dignity of those boys. Make sure you respect them as the church would. Make sure you hold high their personal and individual reputations as the church and the canon law teaches. Again, the Catholic Church teaches on homosexuality that this orientation is not sinful, and also the church teaches that, I mean, I've not heard about ordaining people who have this expression. I've not heard about that. I have come in contact in my personal life with people from all walks of life. And what I really think about this is a stereotype that we have as those people who want to be holy, but just sweep things under the carpet. That's why when Father Prince Chidi started writing, a priest came out and said that the all the ex or most of the ex-immigrants who were expelled are homosexuals. That's why they were expelled. They know where they were expelled. And this was a shaming game. This was a gaslighting, manipulating game. Because anytime you mention that thing, homosexual in Nigeria, case closed. That's why they tagged Father Prince Chilip homosexual. Case closed. Once you mention that, nobody wants to hear, even if it's Mbaka that is concerned. Even if Jesus shows up in Nigeria and has that adjective around him, case closed. So what I would like to say with respect to this is that we learn the theological imperative of accompaniment, of honor for dignity. People are in pain. And I don't know that I mean, and going back to the thing you were sharing, and this is my perspective too. We're having a conversation here. Even those who
Sorry.
have who come to yes.
In respect of what you've just said, I think, sorry to say this, before now, we used to have very intelligent priests. You see this thing that we have now, some of them,
Mm-hmm.
nothing come out. Nothing come out. Some of them, when you see how people talk, people, okay, let's take for instance that Father Prince was expelled. Does it invalidate the point? I don't know who taught these guys philosophy. I don't know where they are coming from. I checked their picture. I wanted to share their pictures because I'm I don't, I've seen up to 99 or for a one couple 100. This guy, and when you are sharing the case that you are handling, you need to be very careful because you are dealing with Bruce of Vipers, so you have to be very careful with what you are doing because of the life of the kids so that you don't endanger their life. Do you understand? So you just have to be very careful. I want to read something that is very important. I read something, and I think it was Father John Chidebubopara. He wrote something that is very, very interesting. He said, the mistake we make in this part of the world is to think that addressing the issues that hurt the church is an expression of ingratitude for the
Mm-hmm.
awesome priests who serve God's people. Such an attitude does greater harm to the victims of various abuses. Such is not the way of Jesus. We need to desist from being so quick to begin to sing the praises of good priests each time the victim of abuses are given a voice and are acknowledged. I understand we write from a place of love and with good intentions, but wisdom is necessary. Our priests are celebrated every day online and offline. Calling someone to order calling some to order does not neglect that. Where is the place of the victim in this post? If a young person who was violated reads this post, how would he or she feel? You think these folks believe that every priest is an abuser? Why do you
Mm-hmm.
think this is necessary to make in a time like this that is for the victim? You see this our church. There is something is fundamentally wrong with some of these priests. Some of them, I've I've met them. I had an issue with one during my grandmom's funeral. These guys, when they think, you wonder if this guy really studied process philosophy. They are very. I have. There are priests that you don't come close. Like these guys are really intelligent and smart and all that. When they address issue the way it is, and they address it. Look at what Father John Opera wrote now. There is no place for the victim. Victim must not be heard. If a victim reports issue, the victim must go to the chapel and pray. But when a priest does something wrong, he is in the person of Christ. You need to protect it so that you will not scandalize the mind of the people. While doing this thing, you should have thought of this mind of the people that the issue that you are bringing up is scandalized, but the priest is scandalizing somebody. We are not talking about that. It should scandalize, and that is why this idea of aqua gracia, and then the person is not in aqua gracia, and you are in the person of Christ. This person is not in the person of Christ. We have
What
to
is Okwa Gracia? What is Okwa Gracia?
in a, you are in a state of grace. You are in a state of grace. I'm not in a state of grace because you are in the person of Christ. You are in a better position to be in a state of grace than me.
Mm-hmm.
That is why you can
Mm-hmm.
do something and then you celebrate mass.
Mm-hmm.
I will not see
Mm-hmm.
you as the priest that raped me. I will not see you as the priest that is sleeping with my daughter or sleeping with me. I see you as Christ. Which kind Christ? Which kind Christ? It's not done
Yeah.
that way. The people you are talking to, first of all, they don't understand theological jargon. They
Mm-hmm.
see you. When and when a girl that is calling me prof or doctor or whatever, once I sleep with the person will not even call me. You call me Mwakado or you call me OC or Osinakachi. So you go
Mm-hmm.
best right. So that's just it. We need to be very careful. Oh. We need to be very careful, and people need to be warned.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in the digital space. A lot of things will start happening, and if we don't talk about it, the change will not come. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Some
Mm-hmm.
of them
Yeah.
after the broadcast or when you write some article, their girlfriends will adjust. They will know that there is fire on the matter, and they will now transfer the aggression to the writer, and then start
Mm-hmm.
mopping up with the AI using ChatGPT, taking and theological excursus and the quotation to back up their claim to criticize. It doesn't make you intelligent. Go and sit down and change. You are trying to change something. We are talking about issues and you are trying to clean it. Fix the roof. Your house is leaking and you are mopping the floor. Fix the roof. We need to
Mm.
talk to ourselves. You understand? We have priests who are friends. When your brother priest is not doing well, call him in order. Say, nah, do it in certain way, do it in certain way. When you talk to the person and the
Mm.
person is not adjusting, then you have to strike the balance. Thank you so much, my brother, for having me.
Yeah, yeah. Great, great. This is amazing. Um, your advice to me is very welcomed. And if it was when I started earlier, that would be on my page now. But like I said, I started like a rescuer. You know, when you are passionate about advocacy, you want to rescue people even without knowing it. But now, thanks to God and thanks to knowledge, we are doing more of coaching and empowerment. So people know that they have the right to, and they have the power to, and they can create the structures that they need to hold things and people and individuals accountable. I have no desire to trend. I have no desire to come in as a rescue. I was just sharing that as backing up the context and the truthfulness that these are realities on ground. That's why I share that. Otherwise, there is no need to lift such things up. So yeah, thank you. A lot of people that we think are very smart. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Let me rephrase that. And just to speak with your tone, right? Um, my brothers and our friends and classmates and seniors and juniors who are now priests, Nigerians, or go back to logic and look at what you do and how you engage. Drop this superior mentality, drop this high level mentality, and just start from the basics. Here and in other parts of the world, a high schooler can engage you and point to you somewhere that you're wrong. You notice, once the people want to do this, good. I've been reading somebody that claimed to respond to me, and I just decided not to respond because if I do, I'll spend time showing how this person is empty. That's normal where I am. We want to be in dialogue with people. We want to respectfully bring everybody close to the table so we can hear each other out and listen and learn. Because at the end of the day, none of us would actually agree that all that has been said here is a lie. It's just that people want particular perspectives and one thing to be emphasized over the other. So yeah, I hope that people continue to feel less uncomfortable. That's part of the aim of this awareness. That people continue to feel less uncomfortable. Like really, these things are going on and we're keeping quiet about it. None of us here hates the church. Like if you really care about humanity, about the pain that people go through, that a 16, 17, 14, 12-year old goes to serve mass and leaves the church not feeling like God really exists anymore. Does it not concern us? And a lot of people have said that I'm very idealistic, and I claim that, I own that. I am idealistic because ideas rule the world. The whole thing about Christianity is idea. The idea of somebody who we don't know shows up and loves the world. For God so loves the world that he gave his only begotten son. So don't attack me when I am so passionate, or when my brother here is so passionate about the possibility of a change in the system because you think we're idealists. Check our lives. We don't just sleep with ideas. We do some things with it. We have some result for it. So all these attacks, all these, subtle ways of discrediting, dismissing. Somebody said that person beat me. Person beat me. You're not telling me that other people like him are not beating people. What is my business? This one beat me. He slapped me. Can we talk about that? What's the business? What's my business with other priests are not slapping people? Where is that in the conversation? And those who come and pontificate with this are very supposedly learned individuals. So it's difficult. It's really difficult for us to engage these things and not sound like we are angry, like we're embittered, like we're insulting them. It's really difficult because we want to be on this table and have these conversations and see how we can progress as a people. Because really, many Catholics in Nigeria are not yet Christians. And it starts from the priests. And I say that again. Really, many Catholics in Nigeria are not yet Christians. And I would stand to be challenged any day. And I can give you evidence for that. But we will not need to do that because again, we hope for change. We hope that we continue to feel uncomfortable. And as we feel more and more uncomfortable, we get more comfortable around these conversations. I would invite you to do some rounding up as we have spent a good time here. Manandi Nejin Adiba, do you want to talk about that one?
No,
I am
yeah, my time is up. I'm not going to talk about.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah, we are entitled to our opinion, and it's also good because I think it was Archbishop Futu Jeshin that said that the church is like the Noah's Ark, where
Mm,
both the clean and unclean spirit dwells. So I think people always capitalize on all these things to be more of the unclean spirits and then the brokenness, expanding the brokenness of the church. I thought that one of the salvific mission is to amend some of all this brokenness. Should we continue breaking all these things and then being the unclean spirit? Yeah, the clean and unclean spirit dwells. That's how Archbishop Futushin stated it. So thank you so much, my brother. I have to run.
mhm.
Yeah,
All
take
right,
care.
all right. Do you have any like one last word before you go? In terms of like a suggestion, I know you've shared a lot of suggestions along the
Um,
line. Do you have any one last?
our suggestion ends in this stream. Yeah, you see the church, they are not ready to take all those things. It's a systemic issue. Let me tell you now, it's a systemic issue. You wrote your projects, go to universities in Nigeria, they dumped it. They dumped it somewhere there. Nobody, the government is not going there. Understand? In the US or in Europe and America, Your project is your thesis is a capstone project. It's your gift to the school, and the government and the institution use it as a proper research. You understand? It's something for them. In Nigeria, it's not like that. It's not like that. So even what we are saying here, we are just entertaining ourselves and then informing the lay faithful. So these are the people,
Mm-hmm.
even the priests that you are trying to order their ways. They are defending them, even in the comment section, trying to tell people, no, we are broken, we are the Noah's Ark and all that. You see that ego of thing. That's just the problem with the an average black person. You want to always be an image maker. You are holier than the Pope. We are talking about issues and you're trying to tell us what the church is and what the church represents. As soon as we don't know what the church is and what it represents, take those advice to yourself. Go back and fix your home. That is it. We are not debating. This is not a debate saying that the church doesn't need image saving. I'm not even going to church for some. I've not gone to the church for some time now. It's because of a lot of things. So I better stay at home and make peace with God and all that. You see all these things, and someone is not when you are trying to contribute. That's why I say the church doesn't need an image and all those things.
Wait.
Congratulations.
I think you don't understand this guy. Oh no, I think you don't understand Father Angel, but
See,
he's
look, look,
actually.
look. No, no, no. I
Oh
understood
no.
his first premise. His first premise, he
Mm.
said the church doesn't need image serving. The church is in all her brokenness, remain the wounded body of Christ. We are looking forward to Easter. Therefore, it needs calling out in love.
Calling out. Mm-hmm.
In love, what is wrong? And this is
Mm-hmm.
what such conversation upholds. It's congratulating us and all and at the same time the first premise. My simple logic, when the first premise is not correct, then your conclusion will be wrong. So I'm just
Uh,
thinking from that point. Now the thing is this: we need to focus on the stay on course, stay on the conversation. You don't need to
mm-hmm.
sugarcoat issues. We have to say things the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to praising priests,
Mm-hmm.
you see, we praise them without trying to put things and all that. We thank them to the glory of God to say, oh, we thank God for giving us a priest like this. When you say, we
Mm-hmm.
thank God for God, why did you give us a priest like this? No, you are neglecting some other priest that you have. So
Mm.
that's it. That's my argument and my
Okay.
problem with
Okay.
things like this. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you so much. I think that's how you understand it. I know him as a person, and I think I know where he's coming from. But thank you for your time here. We deeply appreciate you. I am grateful for your time, and everybody who has joined us. Thank you for your comments. I know there's a friend of yours who begged you not to call his name. Just call his name. Just read out his name now.
No, I read everything. He's the professor. I think the church also dealt with him, right? Because the church,
Wait,
yes, the
wait.
church.
He begged you. He begged you. He begged you not to call his
No,
name.
no, I'm not saying it in a place that the church turned him into an incel, and he became an. They just turned him into an incel, and now he has offered himself to the church to help in the theological whatever jargons, and he writes a lot of all those languages to support the church. But the church turned him into an insider. Thank you so much, Dr. Obinna Chumu, for always being you. Take care.
All right, thank you so much. We are bringing it to an end here. Thank you all for joining us and peace out.